Welcome back, friends. Hope you're all having a wonderful day or evening or middle of the night. No matter what time you may have found this video and be enjoying it, I hope it is treating you well. And we're back. It's a second session or second episode that's coming out of a play session for me. And I just took a nice little opportunity to stick my head outside, went on a quick little brisk walk. The sun is shining. It's a little chilly. Said we had snow a couple days back, and by and large, that's all gone now. It's got sunny yesterday afternoon and warmed up quite a bit today. I think it's supposed to get up into the 50s Fahrenheit, so pretty on the cooler side of pleasant. And I was talking with some friends, and someone asked if people were interested in meeting up this afternoon. And the universal decision was kind of, well, it sounds like it's going to be nice, but not that sitting around outside nice. And due to the pandemic, here, if you want to get together with people, it's still, yeah, maybe you could go to somebody's house at this point. And certainly, nobody was talking about a big group of people, but for the most part, you're, either getting together to spend time in parks or somewhere outdoors, or at a restaurant or something that has a large outdoor space, and I'm sure that's pretty common around the world. I know here in the United States, some folks are actually, or some states are actually lifting a lot of those restrictions, which to me seems a little scary. When it comes to this kind of stuff, I definitely lean to the let's get it all tamped out and fully, as fully mitigate it, even if it's inconvenient for people for a while. And for those who do feel like it's an invasion of their freedoms, yeah, it is. But consider the world just 60, 80 years ago. There have been times, not too distant but still living memory, when people's entire lives were thrown up, when comprehensive drafts of entire populations was a thing, and rationing was real due to global wars. So while it's inconvenient, and it's definitely, my heart goes out to all the people that have lost loved ones. Certainly people my parents' age, they've lost a lot of friends in the last year, and that's been pretty sad. And it's been tough not seeing some of the people that I typically travel to see, once, twice a year or something like that. So I get it, and I've felt it too. But be patient. It's gonna get over, and we're so close now. Let's not push ourselves backwards. But all that, I'm babbling, and I want to get the slide out of the way real quick before we kick off and push the button. Look at that. We've got play Minecraft, watch Top Gear, get Pig. I don't know if my UK friends have a deeper comprehension there. I certainly get the first two, and I don't know, in all actuality, that in my mind should now be watch Grand Tour, and maybe there's something to be said for not cross-marketing to Amazon. I don't know, but I've enjoyed some of the original cast of Top Gear's new efforts that have been supported by Amazon. They've been, I think, pretty well done. And I know, I've got family in the UK, and I know it's a mixed bag. Some people are like, "What? That show is terrible. We can't respect it." And kind of as I would expect, some of my younger cousins and folks are big fans of this show, or at least were the last time we really talked about it. And it's not like the times that we do talk have focused solely on what people watch for TV entertainment and stuff like that. But we're just talking about the pandemic and being safe, and because tomorrow or today wasn't going to be really sitting around outside weather where you're just sitting still, 50s Fahrenheit is nice, especially when the sun's out and it's shining. And even just sitting around, it probably would have worked. But next week, it's supposed to be another 10, 15 degrees warmer, and that sounded a little bit nicer. I'm going to try to spend time outside in between these episodes, and if we get to a good breaking point, or as it gets a little later into my afternoon hours, I will likely take a more extended break just to enjoy it. It was midweek, and the end of the actual week was kind of cruddy out here. It was snowy and wet and cold, gray skies and all that. So getting a little bit of sunshine back and having nice weather is nice. We could definitely do with taking down our cows again. Got loads of paper, and we could bring back a stack of leather once. We'll obviously walk away with a stack of leather. We've still got one here untouched, so we could do that and be ready for books to come out there. But a big part of why we wanted to come back was just to store away these two. I think I'm just going to put them in here for now. This is kind of filling up with stuff I wouldn't typically leave on site. We now have 2 stacks of apples, and since this is a little bit of a hodgepodge of stuff. Like I said, I'm a little. We need to kind of go push until we get more diamonds. It's becoming imperative now. There's not much we can do to get around it. We absolutely need to get an enchanting table that will function. It's just got to happen. Now that we have sharpness 5, we want to be able to maybe use our eventual 50 levels on our sword and see if we can't get something that will really let us maximize out. Having that enchanted would be great, but all too quickly we're not going to want to just throw books willy-nilly on stuff. We're going to want to first give them a strong enchantment, and then add the books to complement whatever we get on them. So all these things need to start happening fast, and they're going to compete for our time. That's great, though. And more fun than building a farm or digging the hole to put the villagers in is being able to get some benefits out of those. So we'll kind of do this. I'm hoping that we'll kind of push through 50 and maybe go beyond in just some of our activities here before we even really get into the actual enchanting. But we certainly... Okay, that's enough there, because we want to be able to get out. Now we're going to harvest the cows, and again, this is more for the XP than it is for the actual leather and beef, but it's a good way to get us started on our way to that last 50th level. And as you can see, we're still kind of in that delicate time where we got lots of baby cows in this corner, and there's enough pushing around that we stand a decent chance of hurting the little ones. Each time I jump, I seem to move a little bit, which is good. I mean, that means we've got a very healthy and robust population of cows, so I'm not complaining about it, but it is a little more dangerous for the youngins to have me swinging an axe around when I keep getting my shins bumped into. But cows and calves, we'll do our best to be safe. Only swing your axe when you have a good solid target and are confident you can hit it. And if you at least try to hold to that ideal, then, in this scenario, only occasionally will you get pushed off target. So, oh yeah, you guys are gonna be so happy to have a little more room. It was pretty cramped in here, wasn't it? Yeah. Well, health and wellness guidelines for cattle are here for you, and I'm the safety commission. Just making sure everybody's got adequate square footage around them. I don't know that this is the best activity to just come back and start a play session with. It's quite an adjustment to be bouncing and chopping at these moving cows. Oh, don't you run away. Woo! Alright. Think blink. That's a swing and a miss. Good thing no baby cat. Stop pushing. Just get the ones that make their way out of that little mass of cattle. Get. Do a little pushing. Too much over there. You guys are nuts. Ha ha ha. Did you hear that jingle? I'm not even looking. There it is, 50. So that is just fantastic. We've got a full, you know, kind of the top levels that I intentionally grind just from doing our cows, which is awesome. We've got more beef than we know what to do with. And really, we can now start storing some of the leather out here. Like I said, when we go back to the, excuse me, hiccuping. As soon as we go back, we'll take at least a full stack, and if we've got sugar ready, we'll take that as well. I know it was beat up anyway, but we did leave all those tools and stuff over at the village center. Man, okay, well, that's all right. We needed axes anyway. So here we go. We need 3, and we'll do a 4th picks. And we'll have a fun little surprise when we do get back over to the villager center, because we'll at some point we'll go, oh man, look at all these tools. Who knew? Hopefully by that point we will have found so many diamonds that it'll be like, oh man, I'm never using iron tools again. But until we reach that point, it'll be a fun surprise. The other thing that we needed to do, we talked about it, and thanks for reminding me. We want to get a few more lanterns. So we got lots of torches here. Let's just do it by the book. Boom. Cool. All right. So why don't we, while we're thinking here, it's going to be brief, I'm sure. Thinking is tough. So we'll do, if we manage to see those, we want, here, maybe let's put them over here. This is more visible. We want to take those 2 back with us when we go. Now, I was sort of thinking of just heading down right now with my new axes, but while we're kind of in resupply mode, we got 2 more flints here, and that would get us pretty close to a full stack of, hi oi, sorry, that would get us pretty close back to a full stack of arrows. And like I said, then when we go mining, if we get some more flint, great, we'll be even more ready. We talked about the infinity. We saw it offered from our second librarian as we were trying out trades, and ended up going for the sharpness 5 instead. And we wavered on that a little bit, and at this point I'm still okay with it. You know, the proof will only come in how long and painful it gets to get Unbreaking 3, Mending, and Efficiency 5. if we're just trying and never get those to pop, then over time I'm going to start regretting having gotten that sharpness 5. But at least in the moment, it feels good. It feels good to know that that's already locked up, and we can just add it to our sword when we get around to throwing an enchant on it. I don't know why, but every time I do the chickens, this is how we end up. It's getting dark and dangerous as I'm throwing eggs. Last time I waited until morning and did it, but I'd really like to get them done and get home, and I hope we're now well enough equipped to do that. So I'm gonna, this is gonna be even worse than the cows. Just give me a feather. Feathers. All right, we're good. Come here. There's that. Run, run, run. You're a chicken, not a zombie chicken. Oi, good job. Oh, hello, friend. I don't know where he came from, but that was way too close. All right, let's take these two of those. Look at that. Full stack and 1 to spare. So we'll throw our arrow and our feather back in the bin. We did end up with random eggs, but that's alright. And we have some chicken. We're still hungry, so let's eat a piece of raw. And you can see that only gave us 1. Raw chicken at least used to. I don't know if it still does, but there was a time when it would potentially give you food poisoning. You'd get a little sick hunger bar over your hunger bar, little sick indicators. I don't know what if that still does anything, or what the full effect has ever been. It's something I've always kind of wondered about. There are a couple things that will give you a nausea effect, and it's one that you need to have for the how did we get here advancement. So it's it's a thing, but I've never really understood. Okay, I got it. Particularly in the desert, you can get it from some of the mobs there. I was kind of been left wondering. Well, so now I've got it. What is it hurting me somehow? What's the difference? I got 1 spare cooked chicken, so that's cool. We ate a couple more foods: a raw chicken and a cooked chicken. We just keep picking away at all of those. But now I think we're gonna mine through the night and hope against hope that we get those diamonds. This doesn't give me great confidence, but to start, we'll just kick out this room, finish up what we'd started on that last one, and we may push. We may extend some tunnels and just keep grinding a bit until we get those few last diamonds that we need. I really, really, really want to move on to the enchanting phase of the game. I think you guys have been nice to follow along through the early game, but we deserve a little reward for all our hard work, some enchantments. So we'll do that, but technically, I think there's just as good odds of having diamonds right here as there maybe half a world away. So we'll keep on plugging. Then we have to decide which our next direction is. Do we push on in that new tunnel that we started? Do we go out beyond the abandoned mine shaft that we'd started to explore? As I still intend and had stated, but haven't changed my mind there, that we don't really want to get too caught up in still further exploring the abandoned mine shaft with all the other stuff going on. I don't want to. It's easy to get distracted, and I kind of know what the likely finds are in there. We want more name tags. You know, got a chance to name Oy and Lud, but we got a horse now. We would happily name all our farm villagers at least to help us recognize which ones want what. You know, it's not a necessity. You can click through them and find out what they need and kind of by process of elimination get it done. But frankly, you know, Minecraft isn't a necessity. There's a lot of stuff in life that you don't need to do, but makes life better for having done it. So, yeah, the potential for name tags alone is a pretty good draw back to the abandoned mine shaft. But when we're strictly wanting diamonds, I don't think it's our best choice. Even if we found a couple in a chest here and there, I don't think it's going to give us quite that volume that we need. And right now, the remaining number that I have in mind is 9. We have 3. We need 2 for the enchanting table. We need 4 for our boots, and we want 3 more for an axe so that we can use that silk touch. So, and start trading on our melons as well. So lots of stuff that we're looking for. I think first thing we need to do is merge these axes, and let's at least go down to our cut as a 2 high hole here. And then I guess this will, since I'm not going to slow down to put torches, this will probably require a few little pinholes where we have torches. This is maybe not one of my best ideas. I'm just saying it could make it a lot more exciting down here. Now that I think about it, lots of chance for mobs to spawn. But hey, there's gravel, and with that we may get more flint. We've got our bow and now lots of arrows. And while we didn't take infinity yet, that's part of the reason why we could afford not to, is we're well set on chickens, so we'll have the feathers. And if we need to make a few stacks of arrows along the way, we can do that. That's not a problem. What we just would really like to see as we go along would maybe be a shine of pale blue in the darkness, right in the middle of one of these. That would be so happy. The good news is somewhere along the way over here it opens up a little bit before we reach the end of this path. So a little of this work has already been done for us. Got some lava in the area. Yeah, that's right here. So open up. That's nice. And again, that may well become a quarry for some of that obsidian. We're going to need a few pieces of that. We need 4 for our enchanting table, and we'll need at least, I think the barest minimum that you need for the portal is 10, but I rarely go that small. I think usually I go 15. I think I will use 3 for the bottom, 4 for each of the sides, and then 5 all the way across the top. And if that math checks, awesome. I'll be happy that it did. But I think that's usually what I work towards or from is it makes a portal that has sides that are 4 tall. So it it looks significant, and then it has a full top. It doesn't look like the corners have been cut out just to save material. And until we get enchantments, it takes a second to knock out each of those pieces of obsidian. But compared to a lot of the stuff we do in this world and just the waiting we do in real life, it's not that big a deal. So I like it for the appearance. And once we've made our first forays into the Nether, then we'll start looking to have a stack or so of obsidian around so that we can link up portals and quickly place them where we can connect spots in the overworld to one another. That's interesting. Have we always been off? I didn't even notice. Here we are going along doing this task. I mean, it wouldn't seem like that big a deal. Whatever, the little poke holes aren't quite the same, but it's important when they line up in this room and they don't line up here. What the? I mean, I guess the good news here is that they're easy to spot. It's just, right in the middle of the others. But how on earth did that even become a thing? The work we make for ourselves by rushing somehow, something. And I would guess, in way of answering my own question, that when I turned the corner and came back as I was making this tunnel, somehow I got off on wherever I cut across, and it was that made me put them in. I went the right distance every time I use the system. It works. It will get you 2 torches with 5 spots in between every single time. And I must have just cut here, not at the end. I just arbitrarily in the middle was like, yeah, that's where I should make this. So anyway, this kind of works because ultimately we were just kind of digging stuff out as we saw. But I think let's keep probing out into the distance. We don't need to clear a room at the moment, or we want to get on the diamonds. And at this point, we'll take some of this other goodies too. And yeah, we've done some extra work for the benefit of the improvement of the home. Now it's time to get focused. We're here for diamonds, not for rock. Let's push in a too high tunnel and just keep going until we find them. Sometimes that's the more efficient. Now the drawback of this will be that for each point that we don't find it, once we fill up, it's a long run back to empty our inventory and turn around. So that's where the folks that advocate, the space that I just had and going every 3 and just going back and forth, a couple hundred blocks at a time, they certainly have the advantage of that when you fill up, you don't have the longer runs back and forth to get back to the point where you're next pushing from. But honestly, we're more focused at the moment on pushing out than pure efficiency, because we just want to, see if we can't catch a pocket somewhere, and in the meantime, finding the underground lava lakes and the potential for caves and that kind of stuff may just give us more visibility to exposed diamond, and that, when we're in this kind of mode, that will only help speed things. So 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, boom. Now here we go. While we're just plugging away here, I'm gonna get this never fails while I'm rolling it. I'm like, okay, now while I'm picking, I'm gonna get a sip of coffee, and then I keep working. So less talk, more mine, and sip. Good stuff. Total waste of time. I should have just, hey, next time I'll show you how to really do that without wasting everybody's time. It's amazing, when you don't have a headset on, some of these kind of things are kind of nice. If you, are thirsty and you have a glass of water or something, you can just use your offhand that's not actively moving you forward to take a drink. But when you got a mic in front of your mouth, that's one, not practical, and two, probably pretty not offensive full on, but not very respectful of your audience to make them listen as you're swallowing away on a liquid right outside the mic. I wouldn't want to listen to that and myself do that, and I don't want to make you guys. So hopefully that didn't pick up too much. I have largely moved away from the toggle mic on this headset, which again is what I had from non-streaming related work stuff. It's from what I've heard, it seems to pick up my voice okay. It certainly does a good job of playing game sounds in. It's not completely over ear or noise canceling or anything, and it's not super fancy, but it seems to get the job done. As I said, the only real drawback is it's a corded mic headset, which is again okay. I don't. Doesn't bother me. It's not like I'm wearing this to go dancing around. I know, again, from a previous rant, it wasn't a rant. I'm not saying it in any way disparagingly, but as I said, a lot of younger viewers and gamers are the target of a lot of marketing, and whether that's high density graphic type games, or whether it's some of the accessories for computers and gaming, both become kind of ridiculous when you consider the marketing that goes into them, and the bells and whistles that just get wrapped in and have nothing to do with what you're actually expecting the tool to do. And face it, a keyboard, a headset, a mouse, those are all just tools. Frankly, they're borderline consumable tools. They should and were always considered kind of low cost, just the odds and ends. They were no different than, yeah, that's exactly what we were hoping for. They were no different than the electrical cable that you needed to connect your computer and all that. And it's it's sad in a way, except that you can still find the workaround stuff. But if you search mouse on Amazon, the first zillion hits you're gonna get are colored and molded plastic and shaped, and does the mouse have 200 different programmable buttons along the thumb edge, which you could never differentiate anyway? I'd say it's somewhat tongue-in-cheek, and I don't want to sound too old. I hope I'm not considered too old in a lot of that regard, but honestly, some people like the thumb side buttons to do some extra functions, but I never have really overly used those. Usually they're a dual map, so you have something on your keyboard as well that you're using, and they just get so overwhelmingly bells and whistles, and so much of it, when you take a step back, is it's marketing, and it's making them flashy by comparison to what competitors may have. And it's the same with the backlit keyboard. When I was a kid, and I don't know much about how all this has changed, but when I was a kid, driving lessons and instruction was certainly different. I know it's evolved quite a bit since when I was a kid, but it used to be you had to do a book class and get a written set of instructions, and then I'm going to be smart. I'm going to run while we finish our story, and we'll come back. We'll have torches, we'll have space, and we'll go explore those caves, and we know that there's diamonds, so that'll keep us excited and sure to come back. Anyway, when I was a kid, you had to take a class first, and then you could, and I don't know how dependent it was if you could do the same, at the same time, but once you had either passed or had certification that you were in a class or whatever, you could get your permit, and you could drive around with a parent or some licensed driver until you turned 16, and then you could take your driver's license test. And for a lot of us in my town, there were private driving instructing companies, but for a lot of us, the easiest way to get that done was to actually go to summer school. And, I didn't make a habit of going to summer school, but it was a one-time in high school deal where I ended up in summer school. And ironically, sorry, Mom and Dad, if you ever find this, but it was that driver's ed class where I learned how to sleep in class. Before that, I was a young, apt pupil, and summer school driver's ed, where they just sit you down and have you watch the gore, just nothing but gratuitous gore movies to scare you into being smart about driving. And so you go in there, it's hot, it's the middle of the summer, these aren't air-conditioned school buildings, and you would come in, and these are the people that they've gotten to teach driver's ed, so they're not educator of the year. I don't think it was like they took the English teacher out of one of the classes. Maybe they did. I apologize to anybody that may have been in my particular education system and teaching those classes at the time, but they seemed to be about as engaged in summer school as we were. It was something everybody had to do to check the box, and as long as you didn't make trouble, you were going to do just fine. And yeah, you had to. A part of it was going through the book that you would eventually be tested on to get your license. Rules of the road and that kind of stuff, and that was fine. It took up a little bit of time at the beginning of class, and then after that, you moved on to naps during these movies. But we got through that. Well, for those of us, and there were a lot of us, that was the sole reason for going to summer school was, hey, this is what we've got to do to get our permits and eventually our licenses. So let's let's just go and get this done. Well, the rest of if you were taking that in summer school, and it was at the high school across town, and for summer they just kind of put everybody together. So we we obviously couldn't drive, so we were all in the situation where we were there for the day. So you had to take something else for the rest of the day of summer school, and I ended up taking a typing class. And even today, I'm not a great typist by any means, but just through brute force and repetition, I have kind of gotten to the point where I do more. And it's been a long time since I was just purely hunt and peck. I was always a little bit beyond that, but it's not full hands on the keyboard at all times and eyes up, and only one mistake every minute, or however they rated typists back in the day. There's a lot of backspacing still, when I'm typing something out that needs to be correct. So I get it, but when I see these keyboards, right, you look, and this is roundabout as all my stories are. It's okay because we're just filling time here, but go on Amazon, and most of you probably have one sitting in front of you right now, and I'm not hating you for it. They look kind of cool, but honestly, look down at the glowing, multicolored, adaptable lights that are behind the keys on your keyboard, and think for 1 minute that the whole idea of typing, and typing well, and particularly for a gamer who's supposed to be reacting without thinking about what they're doing, right? You want to be quick. If you got a bunch of queued up spells or something, if it's World of Warcraft or something like that, and you got a bunch of queued up spells, you shouldn't be looking at the keys to know which one you're triggering. You should know that by repetition and feel, and be able to act that much more quickly. You shouldn't be fumbling around, and particularly, you should not be looking at your keyboard. It's silly. The better you get, the less you have to look at what your fingers are doing when you're playing a game or typing a paper or anything else. So other than if someone happened to be looking at you or sitting next to you or coming over to look at your room and go, "Oh man, look at your awesome computer," it's just window dressing that's stupid and pointless. And it's a silly thing. It's cool, it's like car styling or all that, right? None of it matters, but it makes you feel better about what you got. And I get, it's the exact same thing. Computers, while they've gone down in price dramatically, and more of us have them, just like cars, they're a significant purchase. And I mean, oddly enough, it's just like shoes and things like that too, right? They put on these unnecessary frills to make us want, more out of them. I didn't get the dang torches. So lights on keyboards, I'm like, no, I get it, right? You're a teen, you're staying up late, you're drinking caffeine all night long because you can slam 8 sodas in a day and then go to bed and not toss and turn at all, probably because you haven't slept in 3 days, and are just a twitching mass of candy and sugary cereal in the morning, and then nachos and stuff in the afternoon with sweet drinks and snacks and energy boosts and all that kind of stuff. So I get it, right? You're playing in the dark. It's kind of cool to have that glow around you, and it probably makes you feel more confident in the computer that you have. But I think it's it's a bit silly to have all those peripherals and to have, what's more, understand that they're kind of exploiting the kids who will compare what they've got to their friends in school, knowing that it's exactly those people that can least afford those. You're talking about people that don't have a lot of earning potential yet. You guys should be focused in furthering your education and preparing your life to support you financially. So, You won't listen. Won't listen to my recommendation that you don't know who I am or anything like that. But I would implore people, when you see two different priced peripheral things for a computer, and yeah, one of them's got a lot, but read specs, learn what the various specs mean on some of those kind of things, and don't just be a slave to a brand name or what they have. Obviously, I get it. There's a lot of junk out there too, and you don't want to just buy a $2 mouse because it's cheapest and have it broken immediately or be questionable as to whether the clicks that you're making are actually always getting registered. So there's always a balance, and I certainly understand that, but I also, I would prefer to have them at that closer to the disposable end of the spectrum than closer to the I'm going to cry when it breaks, because ultimately it's still just a mouse, and some of the games and things that we play are pure on abuse on mice and keyboards. I mean, think of the games where you just mash repeatedly, and it's not a click and hold, it's the actions that are just click, 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 and the faster you click, the faster you get a result. Or keyboards, the WASD keys, those connections and things aren't going to last forever. And so dropping $150 to to have a keyboard, to know that, even across the board, they may, even if well designed and made of well components, you may abuse them just in how you use your computer. So again, it's all kind of how much you value them, but don't feel that you're obliged to add functionality that you don't need. And for me, that goes back to the wireless in a lot of this stuff. I think most keyboards and mice these days are, at least that I see, I think those have really completely gone the way of USB wireless. The technology's there, and it doesn't even make sense to have the cables connecting them as opposed to just just connecting them. There's not data enough to go back and forth to the device you're using. A number of button clicks, it doesn't exceed the wireless capabilities. So I'm not opposed to any of this kind of stuff. It just, it's all got a price, and understand that to have a wireless headset just to say that you do may be more expensive than a wired one. And honestly, unless you're using it where you have to get up and walk around while you're on it, there's not that much need. And frankly, having worked well before the pandemic in audio and video, business type conferencing stuff, I understand that really you're more likely to have embarrassing or, potentially career limiting accidents, and think about school, because you got the stupid wireless headset and you wore it around your house. Trust me, more people have regretted the thought that the mute button on their headset was working when it wasn't, because they were on a call with coworkers for adults and, went into the bathroom and did all their business with the rest of their team or a customer listening, and going like, oh my God, do you say anything? Do you not? What's going on here? Or potentially even worse, as bad as that is, we all, even the people that are trying not to be spiteful or gossipy, are going to have private type conversations. You may be concerned about a friend, you may be concerned about yourself or how you're reacting to others, and you may say something that you think is in private, and it may, out of context, sound really bad to people that you thought you had stepped away from, and yeah, you've got that headset on, and it's convenient to not have to take it off and not have the wire potentially catch on your arm, that kind of stuff. I get it, but there's a lot of, just remember all the risks. And I think a year and a half ago now, if I'd said some of that kind of stuff, it would have been news to people. They would have been like, oh, I never thought about that. Oh my. But particularly for all the students who have now gone through a year of, classes at home and Zoom school and all that kind of stuff, you guys more than most others get it, because it's almost built into the student process that teachers know what kids at any grade level are kind of going through, right? And you guys all are, there will be somebody in most of those type of classes that either just to be a clown and get attention, or purely accidentally, but because we all do those kind of things, and you're trying out new things, and you're more prone to learning by trying and doing. That's one of the great advantages of being a young person, is the world's still lots of new, and it's why, for 30, 40 years now, it's been every evolution of technology has been driven by the youth people, because they're not afraid to break it. They don't have that. We've talked about it before. They don't have that sense that things could go wrong here, and it's why when I was a kid, what would have been called a meme, I guess, back then, was this alleged story that, phone calls of recommended tech support. Hey, I can help you get a virus off your computer. All you need to do is open up a Windows prompt and then type rm-r/star, whatever the exact syntax of it was. But, essentially you're going to just start backwards deleting all your stuff. Well, kids may not be quite as gullible to a phone thing like that, but when you get a new computer or a new game or a new application or anything like that, you're not going to worry about what may happen down the road if I do this. You're going to go in and try every configuration, and oh, hey, what happens if I do this to overclock my core? Yeah, that may be bad long term, but man, it's it may get me an extra FPS, so I'm doing it. That kind of attitude is awesome, and it can teach you some lessons along the road. That's why a lot of adults don't maintain that same attitude through their whole life. The concept of "I've been burned before, don't burn me again" is real. They already have been through the fire and don't want to go back. It hurts. So that's all valid. And when it comes to the gaffes of video and stuff like that, I think that's why, having had this year where most of the younger generation have now, even if you hadn't already tried it with friends or relatives far away, that kind of stuff, now having worked in school through that technology, I doubt that you will ever go back from it. It will just kind of stay a part of your toolkit, much like typing and some of the basic computer functionality was for Maya and earlier and since generations. That once you get comfortable with that kind of stuff, you may not see it as a necessity before, but now that it's been adopted for so many, when you find yourself in your first job or whatever, why wouldn't you just use video to get to know coworkers that may be scattered across the country or the world, that kind of stuff. I've, for a long time, well before it ever became as commonplace, certainly as it is today, but has been, ever since I've been an adult, but, kind of reaching back to about the millennium. I was a young professional at that point, and one of the very early of my career type jobs, I was in Colorado, and have been the whole time I've been a professional. But shortly after I got started in the professional world, I started kind of entry level stuff with a team and a boss all in the same kind of room. We would go play softball and all that kind of stuff. We were all just in our 20s and enjoying it. But when we pretty quickly after, when I got some opportunities to take on new challenges, those were for a manager, a boss that was in a different state and had co-workers that were from the start scattered around the world. So by the time I was, I don't know, maybe 3 years into working a real job, out of school and all that, I was working on a team that was in Australia and India and California. None of my team unique, and that was kind of the novelty part. None of my team were in Colorado. My boss wasn't. My closest coworkers, that I kind of talked throughout the day and were teaching me how to do the job, none of them were in the same state that I was. I never, for the entire time I had that job, I never met any of them face to face, but they were great people. And I was supporting my company's employees that worked from home. So I was, I was living the proof that all of these people could do it. And, we were very high tech at that time, kind of, cutting edge stuff. And the company has since been acquired and gone, out of existence. Some of the technology is still out there, and they definitely helped push forward the world that we live and work and play in today. But it was a great experience, and from that, I moved more into the communications world and was helping to allow people to get on conference calls. We'll say, is kind of the main early adoption technology was, oh yeah, you're going to get on a conference call with your team, and and it kind of morphed and started becoming referred to as virtual meetings. The web part, oddly, was there very early on when I first even got started in this. Maybe ballpark 2010, a little earlier than that. We already had the stuff that would let you share a whiteboard, would let you display an application on your screen to others, would let you make a presentation with PowerPoint and host it to a bunch of other people's computer screens, app sharing, all that kind of stuff. Things that we now do through a number of the big name tech companies, desktop and virtual conferencing type software. They put those into suites and made them package deals. For us, it was amazing that technology had been around well before and kind of had to be re-adopted once it was out there, because of course, bigger companies or companies that may not be as technically innovative but have the reach and the influence to actually make that stuff get adopted widely, will go out and find those more agile type companies that are more adaptable, and they'll buy them to get the access to their products, and also to get access to their customers and things like that. And think Mojang. That's one of them. Maybe not a perfect example, because probably Mojang could have just continued to offer Minecraft to its existing, and keep the same model going. But I don't think we would have seen the same level of development that we have in recent years, and perhaps not the same influence, the same emphasis to grow and rejuvenate the customer base. So it doesn't just completely start becoming a legacy game that, kids may pick up, and older siblings and parents may increasingly go, yeah, hey, try this out, to their 5, 6, 7, 8-year-olds that are just starting to use computers. I really enjoyed playing this when I was your age. Instead, I think the Microsoft resources make it, those parents are going to be the ones that are going to be sitting there going, what's this new update? I may not play this game every day, but I'm going to keep my login and password to the launch page, because when Cliffs and Caves comes out, I want to go see what the changes are, and we've talked at length about how adaptable and replayable this game is. But I do think it also benefits from a healthy dose of availability. We've been talking through kind of wide-ranging, starting from headsets and wired versus wireless headsets. But sadly, our return to get those diamonds only yielded 4, which does unfortunately seem to be the price you pay when you find them exposed in caves. I typically don't see that those, when you do find those big packs or exposed packs, that they have the same typical 8 double 4 or however configurations where you get lots more diamonds out of that little pocket. But it was good to get them. We got a little combat in there along the way. Just kind of rolled through it, and that's a little bit the style of the game. It pretty regularly adapts or becomes more routine. When you're in a cave, that they can. All it takes is one hole, you fall in and start having mobs raining down on your head, and you're in big, potentially big trouble. And that's why we carry the golden apples. We can hopefully deal with a lot of those circumstances as they arise. But just the pure combat element is one that we're more equipped to deal with now. So hopefully that will persist here a little bit. Bear with me one second here. Instead of trying to chop, I'm going to drink some coffee while we're sitting here. And just like that, without a mute button, I moved the mic away. Hopefully, we'll listen back when I will when it's ready for posting, and we'll see what comes of it. So here we go. Now, as you saw there, where I was repairing my pick, we're filling up a little bit. We can toss some of this stuff. I can easily get rid of those gold boots that aren't enchanted. I can toss that broken bow. That's the drawback of not having infinity. When you already have a full stack, you can continue to grow arrows, but you're gonna keep running into the fact that you either don't start with a full quiver, or you regularly have multiple stacks in your inventory. With infinity, excuse me again, right after the sip there, a little hiccupy action, but with infinity, you can head out with 5, just enough to have a little bit of a safety cushion, but you can have a mostly empty stack of arrows, know you're not going to run out, and then as you go about fighting, you're going to be growing those arrows just the same way, but without clogging up your inventory. So, big fan of the infinity. It just wasn't the right time to take it from the librarian. I like this gold, though. That's a nice grab. We won't go out of the way to grab the redstone just now because we're pretty tight on the old inventory, as we said. No more. All right. Let's do this. Boom. 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 And boom. I know at some point we'll use those for crafting, but particularly the trio of colored blocks, I'm never too worried about those. Ultimately, it may be the gravel that we pine for more. Listen, bow. This is why, sometimes it's nicer just to find a lava lake. The reason I didn't initially toss the zombie flesh for those base junk type ingredients, and I used junk loosely because bones and gunpowder in particular have a lot of use. Even if you're trying to manage your inventory, and yeah, you usually don't need the 20 you may come back with from this kind of an expedition. It's so likely that you're going to run into another zombie before you completely fill up that you'll always be grabbing those, and unless you're really jammed and and just trying to get some space to pick something up in front of you, it makes more sense to just hang on to those, time saving wise. Alright, well, that was another that wasn't massive, unfortunately, but combined, and remember we have 3 upstairs, so we've now got 3 for our pick, the ones upstairs, we've got 4 for our boots. That leaves us with 5 more, which can be our axe and our enchanting table. So we are set now, and we're not, after all that inventory management, who cares? We're just going to run back down this hallway. I'm going to do the same and get one more sip of coffee while we trudge, so we'll be right back. So that'll be the real test of the mic move, if that really helps, how far it's picking up sound. I totally just clanked the metallic insulated coffee cup I was drinking out of off my front tooth, and no damage done. It wasn't entirely painful, but it clanged pretty good. I try not to do that too often when I'm just taking a sip of coffee, but anyway, there's always excitement, even when it's just have a little sip of a drink. So, familiar territory. We've got our little cross pieces here that we'd started with. That's the lava lake. We're gonna come back down and hit that one, because when we do eventually core out this to make storage space and some of that kind of stuff, we'll want to get that lava out of there anyway. Some of this kind of stuff may be actually kind of cool, and I've been leaving that, as we're just expanding our home up here, we may decide to keep that look. It's, when you've got a lava lake in your basement, that's not something everyone can claim, so kind of cool. You don't just want to make it all go away, although in real life, granted, having a lava lake in your basement may be not real good for the health of your home. We don't have to worry about that kind of stuff here in Minecraft, so We're not gonna. So we want the gold, we want the iron. Unfortunately, I grabbed the right one. And we want to grab all those just to hold them. Oh, boy, have you ever seen such diamondy goodness? I was thinking about maybe making another stack of torches and then seeing where our coal is from there. We've exposed a lot more that we didn't necessarily gather in that tunnel. And, you know, we may not immediately, because we want to get back to the enchanting stuff, and we want to, you know, do our tunnel and some of that kind of stuff. But we may do some fairly hardcore caving once we get our axe set up and some of that kind of stuff. But for now, I think we're going to expand our stack of coal blocks just for a little more breathing room in the inventory. You knew that's what I was talking about, didn't you? And I totally... There's a couple ways that you can do this faster than touching every section. The one is to at least, you know, just do 3, 3, 3 with a 64. The other is just to type in block and select block of coal. So not a real good example there, but that does, while we're now pretty low on individual pieces of coal. We got a lot of blocks. I'm going to move this black wool back. At the time, we thought we were going to maybe bring that over to our villager outpost, but we didn't end up needing it. So, let's just do a little bit more of our inventory cleanup here. We'll top these off, reposition all this stuff, drop these. Alright, we're doing good. Let's do this and learn our lesson here. This makes me scared, but once we get, well, no, for now I want a full stack. Not, you know, we're not going to be adventuring too much, but we're going to want some more stuff. We want to make a pick. We want to make some shoes. Let's put the shoes on. Let's put the shoes on. Let's get the pick in hand. Now we got 5 left. We may as well, since we've got them here. Let's make our axe. And like I said, I'm going to be sorely tempted. We'll see what kind of levels we have left once we get going. So we should, and we do, we've still got 15 of our bookshelves. We did accidentally take all the remaining books that we have, so we need at least 1. And you know what? We'll just make all these that we have for here. So, and what I'm basically trying to do now is create a situation where we don't have to come back upstairs again. We've got everything that we need in hand and ready to go. And if that doesn't make sense yet, hopefully it will soon, because we're gonna kind of set up our station down in the basement with Oi's folks. Alright, so our boots, we have a couple of them, so we don't need the extras, as we already talked about. They never wore down to the point where we needed to merge them, and having, you know, a few scuffs on them keeps them looking natural. So we get a book, that and the diamonds, and the obsidian we're going to gather will make our enchanting table. The bookshelves are what's going to give us full power on them. We need a couple of chests, and for that I need logs. Eventually we're going to have to repay for our wood, but we... Come on, logs. Now we don't need all of these yet, but we'll need a few. We're going to take one more of these and make another grindstone. I don't mind. I'm probably doing it exactly the opposite of how I did it the last time that it didn't work. Always, always, always backwards. Now what am I doing? Anyway, so blocks away. These extra ones can come over with us to eventual trading. Apple stuff. Dun, dun, dun. What else do we need to get going? We definitely... Oh, man. Always, always, always something. We definitely want those. We got books. We got a grindstone. We got chests. We've got the pick. Let's go. Whee! This feels good. I hope you guys are still hanging in there after the bit of delay, but it's definitely good to be finally flush with the diamonds we needed, and we're going to use up it. As we said, we're going to use up every single one of the ones that we have, which is good. You don't want to be a miser. You don't want to hang on to stuff that you don't need to hang on to just for the sake of saying that you have a lot of stuff. I think the trouble is we left it all the way over at the villager outpost. And prizes to the people that saw it coming. Obviously, I didn't. To efficiently take care of that lava, there's one element that we didn't bring along, and it's kind of important. Feeling a little dumb right now, and especially if it's up here. At least if I left it over at the villagers, which I did, it doesn't feel quite as bad. But still, running all the way down there after I'd tried to verify that I had everything I needed. So silly. Again, sometimes it's really nice to have a lake right outside your door. Just saying. Oh. We'll avoid that goof. So there, I made up for it a little bit. Grab the anvil while we're up here. Now we're being very careful on these stairs. It seems like we'd be going faster. Here we go. Once more into the breach we go. Can we see that obsidian? I see it. It's out there amongst the torches. Here it comes. It's getting more visible. All right. Now. Oh. Smooth move. I was going to say it's going to knock all our torches off, so we should be extra careful, but... So we'll throw a couple extra here while we're working. So we gotta grab some of this obsidian, and of course that gets a little more challenging when we know that somewhere around here there's probably more lava underneath. And here you go. This, for those that don't know, obsidian is one of the most durable blocks in the game, and it takes an age to mine through. Even with this diamond pick, you gotta chop and 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 chop, which is one of the reasons why efficiency is such a nice enchantment to have. Max efficiency, which is 5, cuts all mining time down, and with blocks like regular stone, you can almost move without stopping through double layers. In the nether, you can just set your pick so that it's aimed, kind of low enough so that it gets the block above and the block below, and then just run straight through ground without ever slowing down. And it's pretty nice to have. Obsidian is never going to be quite like that, but it makes this wait so much faster. So while we may be forced to until we really get that that full efficiency 5 availability, we're going to want to try to get that before we do a lot of obsidian mining. But that's going to be driven by portals and how many we need. We may find that we've dug up quite a bit of obsidian. Not by quite a bit, I mean maybe we get to a full stack in total that we'll be using along the way. I hope not. I hope we have efficiency well before that and don't have to deal with it. But it's something that we definitely will want, and we won't overmine even now. We're not planning on imminently going to the nether. I'd like to get there, but we got enough for our purposes, and I guess hopefully we still have some blocks. Good. So we can make a tool chest down, or a work table down here. And excuse me for the sort of sniffly there. Being outside with the sun and the breeze and the recent snow, it is springtime, and I've noticed a little bit, and I don't typically get super allergied, but I have been noticing the last few days something's had me a little more drippy out of my nose, so just kind of trying to keep those things intact. All right, so the first thing that we want, we'll maybe put this over between our ferns and our dogs, is the tool bench. And let's get that out of the way. So we want to place this and make our enchanting table. And to do that, we make a little lower cross there. We put diamonds on either side to capture the magical power of the diamonds. And then we put a book on top. Boom, enchanting table. We got it. Yay. We come over to a large enough space because we want to have room for it to be centered. And here's kind of the center of our torched area, and this should work out pretty well for us. So now we've got our enchanting table, and I'll run through this quickly. I know probably much of the audience is already familiar with enchanting in Minecraft, but for those who may not be, let's run through it pretty quickly. So this is our table, and let's just use our axe as an example, right? If we put it down, we get a 1, 2, 3, and these are the levels of enchantment that are available. In order to apply any of them, we have to put this lapis into the table. That's what powers it. So now, efficiency 1 is what displays, and by putting a 3 on it, it will maximize. Well, you can see that these don't change a whole lot. So there's not a whole lot of benefit to putting the top one on, but that's because our enchanting table is underpowered right now. It doesn't have the ability to put max enchants on anything, and that's where these bookshelves come in. So we're going to arrange them in this configuration around our table. If they are above or below, so you can't set an enchanting table on a floor of bookcases, and I don't think you can put them directly above, and you can't block them. So if I put one here, yeah, it might look nice, and they're these are certainly nice decorative blocks. They're fun to use, but putting one here, you can see these others, and the video, the particles may be a little tougher to see, but you can see those little shapes coming off and going into the enchantment table. That's enchantment power. Well, if I dropped a bookcase here, those little runy looking things wouldn't be able to float to the enchantment table, so it wouldn't affect my available enchantments. So instead we just go with this. This is my configuration, and it doesn't, you can do it however you want, as long as they have a direct line of sight and can reach the enchantment table and are kind of at this perimeter. You can arrange them however you want, and maybe others have seen more. I certainly, sometimes you drop these down, it just make a single point entrance, but I like being able to put torches throughout so that they're kind of insulated, and having the wide open entrance and exit just makes it, it's less likely to get snagged on something as you go in. Now, we wanted the chests because we're going to want to keep our lapis down here close, and we wanted our anvil because to apply the book enchants that we have to it, we'll need that. And I like having these up. I've never tried to stick one to a bookcase before. I wonder if that works. I hope that doesn't break it or anything. I don't know. Well, first time for everything. I'm gonna watch here for. Yeah, all right, there we go. We're still sending little runes. So good stuff. Now we've got books, we've got our tools, and now if we go back in, remember efficiency 1 is what we had as an option for all 3 of the diamond axes, and here it is at level 1. So that's the same. That's the base, and that would only cost us 5. Or require us to be at efficiency level 5 to stop. I'm seeing the word efficiency. To apply this, we only need to be at level 5. That's this number over here. And it would cost us 1 level to apply it. So if we did that, we're at 51. So we meet that requirement. This would drop to 50, and our axe would then likely just have efficiency 1 on it. For 2, we actually get Silk Touch. Now, that's what I was kind of talking about, the early enchantments offering some good perks early on, and that would certainly be one of them. But we already can buy it. In fact, we have a Silk Touch book upstairs. And here we have Unbreaking 3, and that's certainly valuable, but having seen the Silk Touch, that may be buried underneath here. It may have nothing to do with the other, but I tend to, if I've seen it advertised earlier, I think that one may get hidden. You may get something. In and of itself, often Unbreaking 3 is totally worthwhile. Obviously, what that means is that your durability increases on your tools, and it is the most used of what I hope to be my librarian trades of any that are out there. Now, I expect that this will be the same as what we just saw. Yeah, we get the same options. They're both tools, so you kind of end up with the same options out of those. For our bow, Unbreaking 1, not terrible. Power 2 is nice. Power 4 is pretty good. As I said, with the sharpness on the sword, a power 4 bow can go up to 5. And again, some of these, there's variations in all of them. And if I misspeak, I apologize. I don't have a list in front of me, and I typically don't play with one. But I know you can go up to power 5. Absolutely. I don't know that you can get it from the table. So if we took this, ultimately, we will want a power 5 or power 4 at a minimum from one of our librarians. So someday we would have that. Very good possibility, though, as an enchantment to take as a first one. This is the one. Let's cross our fingers and toes. We don't want to see sharpness 5 down here because we already have that. What we would love to see right out of the gate, Minecraft, if you're listening to this recording, go back in time and offer me a looting 3 as an option on this sword. Ready? Here we go. Well, that's not terrible, though. Now, what we don't know in this one, and it's kind of a wild card, right? We see the sharpness, we see the smite, and those two are mutually exclusive. The disaster with our sword would be to take this and then get either a Bane of Arthropods, which is exclusive, or a Smite, which is exclusive with sharpness. We would then not even be able to use our book. Now, it's not a disaster. We just come over to our grindstone here, clear it, and can start over. But we burn 3 levels just to see that. Sometimes that'll be worth it, but we still have all our armor to look at before we just settle on anything. We want to make sure that we take the best enchantment possible offered here in our first opportunity. Fire Prop 4, not terrible. With the helmet and the boots, I'm kind of looking for specifics. Now, this may be what we actually go with. Prot 4 on the chest. Prot 4, and Prot, obviously, just protection. But Prot means generic protection. It's a flat, will protect against any attacks from monsters, and as I understand it, it will base protect against a creeper blowing up, a skeleton shooting you with an arrow, falling into the lava. It's going to help, but any of the other specific protections, whether they're projectile, blast resistance, or fire protection, those will, like Smite, they will protect you a whole lot more against that particular damage, but when they're applied, you can't apply protection 4 on top of it. So if that makes sense, and generally I would like to have protection generically all the time. That is just kind of the way you go. So this is probably as good as it gets early on. The power 4 on the bow is also quite good, but either the shirt or the pants, getting that extra benefit is really good. This is it's just going to show a flat protection 4 too. The boots and the helmet have additional exclusive enchantments that can be added to them. Kind of like a sweeping edge can go on a sword, or looting can go on a sword. The helmet, the favorite extra one of it is respiration 3. That's what lets you hold your breath a lot, or get more out of each of your breath bubbles when you're working underwater. So a very good one there. And the boots, the best extra one is feather falling 4, I think, is the highest there. So that protects you, as if you fall off a ledge or a building, it will minimize the damage that you have. Effectively, reverse that, it means you can fall from higher without dying. And that in hardcore ways that you don't want to lose your world, falling off an edge is certainly one of those. But after looking and talking about all those, I definitely want this protection 4. It's such a good option, and knowing that the tools are likely showing a silk touch as a secondary enchantment, we want this. So perfect. With Unbreaking 3 and Protection 4, really the only piece that I'm missing on this guy will be Mending. So ultimately, now with Unbreaking 3, it's going to wear down even less. So well before we're in danger of that breaking, we should have Mending to put on it, and we'll be in good shape. Now, because we're below level 50, I think we cap off a little bit. The max level requirement is 30, so we can go a long way with actually still seeing good enchantments. And we're just going to load up our thing and go through the list. So Unbreaking 3, not as appealing as the power. Here, fire protection again. And more often than the protection 4, you'll see the protection 3. When you've got lots of things to enchant, that's not the worst in the world. Getting a book with an extra level of protection 3 isn't too terribly hard. You can combine those on your armor. You'll have lots of extra enchantment availability. So that efficiency 4 is interesting, though. That on either one of our tools could be it. The axe, or the pickaxe, while we're waiting on diamonds, I would prefer to get, if I see Fortune 3, I'm going to take it, and I will continue to look. Now, the other thing we didn't do the last time, because there were so many good options, is to check our books. You can only ever get one enchantment on a book, but as you go through and look, if you get, and there's some that will never show up here, only a couple that are what they call treasure enchantments, and Mending is one of those. And I think the 2 curses maybe are, there's There's just a couple, maybe 4 total, that you can't get from the table. You can only trade or find in chests. And with those exceptions, these books, just like the ones you find out in the world, will only ever have a single effect ready to go on them. So you're not going to find surprise things in there. But if you see one of these that's a max level, or something that you really need to supplement your gear. So like my chest is a bad example because we don't need anything. But say we take, what do we see? This was efficiency 4. So say we take that. Then if we get another efficiency 4 in a book, we can combine those and we'll have an efficiency 5 axe. We would prefer to find efficiency 5 from a librarian and just use that, but it's not the end of the world. Now, I think because none of these are max level, that's not fortune. And frankly, I'd rather at the moment have unbreaking as my known on this axe than efficiency. It doesn't take that much to chop melons, even wood. It's not like a pick. I would consider that if I wasn't holding out for fortune on the pickaxe. So, and normally efficiency 4 would be pretty good, but I don't really want to waste the levels on any of those. So what I'm going to do is junk a book, and this is going to effectively re-roll the available enchantments. So I'll take that. I don't want it. And then I just come over and wipe it off the book on the grindstone. I get that back. Yeah, I lost a level, but now everything is going to give me new options to consider. So now my helmet has Unbreaking 3. That's not terrible. I don't want the fire prot on the pants. Unbreaking, again, not terrible, but not mind-blowing. Punch 1 is far from desirable. This, as I just said, that could be the one we take here. Knockback I don't want on the sword, at least to start, and this will be the same as the axe. So this one could have the want horn. If this Unbreaking has Fortune 3, I totally goofed, and I should have put it on the pickaxe. Anything else, if it's got some efficiency, great. If it has a silk touch, great. Then I just keep the book, sit on the book, and save it for the next tool. But this hopefully is either just a flat Unbreaking or adds some efficiency as well. So fingers crossed. Wow, couldn't have gotten any better than that. So we'll add our silk touch to this one. It will wear down less. We'll save it just for bees and melons, but that will increase our ability to get emeralds, blah, 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 blah. By the time we go back over to visit our villagers, we're ready to rock. So all we're going to do now is when we get down below 30, we'll make sure to throw our silk touch book on this axe, and then we'll be good. But now we're looking again and see what the next batch has. Flame, again, I'd rather have that in a book than on any of these. Prot 4, very good. Maybe we get that on the pants. Nope, too much to ask. Again, until I see it otherwise, I'd rather pull one of the exclusive ones. It's nice, but I don't want it when we have loads of extra. What was this? Punch? Flame? When we have loads of extra stuff, then we'll consider those. But until otherwise, so nothing I really wanted there. Loyalty, piercing is crossbows. We don't need any of that, so we'll just take another base level junk, and we can kind of hold these. We don't have to run over every time to do it. Unbreaking on the helmet, unbreaking on the pants, barking dogs just over our shoulder. But they're keeping us company. They're excited. This is a fun time for them, and they've been a little lonely, but they're good pooches, looking out for the Availability. I was kind of lose track. I don't have a. Let's sort of kind of try to get these grouped to where I'm not just wondering which ones I've looked at yet. Okay, bear with me here. Let's just reset because now I've totally lost it. I think unbreaking. And we didn't get unbreaking. That was fire prod or something. This is probably that's prot 32. And this was done. We just pulled that, and that was silk touch. So none of those are what we want. So again, blast prot 4. We're not going to sit on that as a book. Take a junk and go. And this is again is why it's good to have the librarians already started, because you're not always going to get, oh, that's a good one though. I like that res 3. That may be, unless we see something even better, but it's going to be fortune 3 would beat it. That doesn't. A power 5 on the bow would beat it. Feather falling 3 is not max, but respiration 3 is. Power 3 does not beat it. No, without Fortune 3, it doesn't beat it. So, we'll see if we get anything extra here. It would be really nice if we did, but I won't count on it. If that had been fire protection or regular protection, I think I would have kept it. But as is, I don't think that's worth it. And if I lose the world to a creeper, you guys will know that was my mistake. But you know, prot 4. Once we're locked into the blast protection, we can't get rid of it. And I'll spend more time in fire. You know, that's where if you're taking something different intentionally and you get a fire, that one has a lot of use. It can let you work for extended periods of time in lava, particularly in the nether, without even needing to use a fire potion. And so I do consider that one pretty good. But Depth Strider, I'll have to look after. I'm not going to take it now anyway. You know, it's not worth holding the book, but it's something we may grab later if that's the max. I can't recall. Is Depth Strider 3 the top level, or is there a higher one? Feel free to throw me a comment. Otherwise, I'll look it up and keep that in mind for next time. I just want to verify before I take a not tier book. So I think, had we already looked at all these? Well, no, pretty quick. I think we had, right? This was, yeah. So we'll take another efficiency 1. That seems to be our default here. And then we'll try again. We're still really hoping for a looting 3 on the sword. Again, Aqua Affinity I want to add to my helmet eventually, but I don't want to just take it. Where Respiration has levels, I would take that. I would, that's still a strong contender. Silk Touch, not. And unless this is something good, we're going to go back to the bow. Quick Charge, nope. So, we'll take this. Again, you know, bow is low stakes. Even if we will probably not add anything else to that, we may build it up. You know, if we end up with a cheap infinity, we can throw on the unbreaking and kind of build it as its life goes on. But frankly, you know, if we just run around with a power 4 bow and then build a later one even better, I'm okay with that. You know, it's low stakes, and this is definitely going to be better than what we currently had. Make those few arrows really worthwhile. Now we're getting low. Watch our levels there. We're at 36, so we only have 2 real more chances, 1 more at level 30, to grab something good. Prot 3s, I don't want those. Unbreaking is not the one that because I'm going to put such a premium on getting Unbreaking 3 from the librarians. I don't want to rush that. No, that was just an Unbreaking one. Yeah, nothing too great there. So, sadly, I don't think, I don't remember. Didn't want that. Yeah, none of these are good. As the options run down, so a couple junk enchants. That's a bummer. And as we go lower here, as you see, it's less likely that we're going to stack a bunch of enchants. Looting 2 is sort of tempting. We'd need another looting 2 eventually to max it out, but I won't push for that one early. And again, some of these now, when you get lower level like this, knowing that it's unlikely you're going to get a whole lot of other stuff, it's almost better to just keep looking past the levels instead of just taking a marginal enchant. Oh! Total mistake. Oh my goodness. Just a full misclick. Never wanted that. Sorry about that. I guess I should have done the books while I was away. So let's clean all these. Now we're not going to go below. You know, this is last gasp here. Do we get one more thing that that we really want? Prot 4, maybe the time to take that. We won't take the Unbreaking. Again, we're very low likelihood of getting extra stuff on that. There's the one we're taking right there. That's exactly what we needed. We can look at the book, but there's no way it's going to give us more than what value we get out of the looting 3. So we will happily take that. And I mean, just loading us up. Now it's kind of silly, but we would have needed the sharp 5 anyway, because you need a sharp 4 or 5 to bring an existing 4 up to level 5. You know, you can't add a sharp 1 and a sharp 4 and get a sharp 5. It has to be 2 of the same to go up to the next one or greater. So it will be a fire sword. The only real drawback there is that we will cook any animals that we kill. Again, not a huge barrier, but sometimes it's nice to control whether you have raw or cooked meat, but we can use an axe or something like that if we need to. So very happy with that. Now we're going to stop though. We don't want to go lower because we won't even, and I guess I can show you. So now that 3 is blocked out. You have to get back up to level 30 to even select those. And while you can find some good stuff at the upper levels occasionally, you know, particularly if you're looking for Silk Touch books, you know, things like that, you can find those just sitting and hanging out at the upper levels. Respirations and Aqua Affinities and things like that. All those can just be sitting up there. So it is always worth a look, but we want to spend the remaining levels that we have combining the 2 books that we brought back from trading already onto our existing stuff. So before we pop upstairs, let's not forget to put gear back on. Typical mistake. That's it used to be. This is not too distant past, but fairly recently, to repair stuff once you had equipped mending. If, you know, for armor and things like that, you had to wear it and then gather the experience. But it would, the game mechanic would attempt to repair anything, even if it was at full health, that you were wearing. So if only my helmet was damaged, I would take off my shirt, my pants, and my shoes and just wear my helmet to make sure that it got repaired as quickly as possible. Otherwise, you're splitting all of that XP across all your tools and all the tools that you're holding and all the other armor that you're wearing. So to, once you had mending on everything, you'd essentially have to take off 3/4 of your armor. If one of those is your chest piece, you're taking off a whole lot more than that. Just to do your repairing, and that was a very vulnerable, easy way to lose worlds. Well, we don't have to worry about that anymore. They modified that mechanic so that now the mending enchantment will only attempt to repair the stuff that you're currently needing to repair. So you can continue to wear your full strength armor and anything else until you repair the rest of it. So here we go. We're going to get Silk Touch on our axe. It will be an efficiency 4, and eventually we'll want an efficiency 5 on that too. Just, for all our tools, why would you want to be lower? Unbreaking 3 is already maxed out, and we'll want to put Mending on it. But as a single enchantment for the first time, that only costs us 4. And now we can get our melons, which is awesome. And then this one, we're enhancing the sharpness, so we'll just pull that up to 1, but we want our max sharpness anyway. And now we're going to get some extra fire damage as well. So really, we're well on our way to our sword. We still want Sweeping Edge 3, we want Unbreaking 3, and we want Mending. But the main reason why we wanted the looting so badly, and there's a couple. Obviously, any time you have looting is nice, because what that means is that any mobs you kill are going to be more likely to drop treasure. Generally, a good thing. I mean, when you're running a darkroom spawner, it can get overwhelming. You can get a lot of zombie flesh and that kind of stuff. Okay, but we'll deal with that to get extra Eyes of Ender, to get additional blaze rods once we go to the nether are a big one, to have a better chance of wither scaly skulls. All those things, it's a great reinforcement of having the looting 3. So I was really glad to see that. Now we've got some obsidian. We don't even have enough yet to build our first gateway, but that's fine. We want to focus back on our librarians and get, Mending, Unbreaking 3, efficiency 4, or efficiency 5, I'm sorry, protection 4, any of those kind of things that we can find in a trade and have ready to go. We'll just, as we get more leather, diamond gear, we can stack those up. Now, one more trip up and down the stairs, and I apologize, but I want to leave those books down, have some supply down by our enchanting table. It's just nice to be able to roll through those and always be able to see what the enchantments are and have low-cost options to reset. And you never know. Sometimes you're going to get one that you would have gladly bought from a librarian too. So good stuff going on. And because we were only doing single stuff and it was first time, it didn't even cost us too terribly many levels. So hopefully we should get back up above that 30 pretty quickly. And until, going forward, until we have a good start, obviously it's nice to be maxed out and up as high as we can possibly be when it comes to doing enchanting. Anything 50 or higher is perfect, because you have such a good chance of getting extra enchantments. However, it also is something that we want to trade with the opportunities, right? So now you get up to 40, you can go through and take a few looks. Obviously, we didn't stop until we ended up below 30, and the more librarians we have, the less dependence we have on getting extra enchantments. So Enchanting anywhere level 30 and up is great. So fun stuff to be pulling some of those down. We'll run the fields here, try to gear up on a bunch of trade goods, and run the whole system. We've got a pretty good supply of emeralds already, but we can always use more. Now that we already dropped almost 49, I think is what we had ended up paying for sharpness 5, and that was a kind of a one-time deal. So we'll, particularly if, and one or the other is very likely to get us, but we're probably going to pay dearly for either efficiency or unbreaking. It's kind of just the way it goes. And I will, to have the opportunity to use those without or have access to them, I will take a high-priced one. And then as we get more and more, and we're kind of just looking at what one-off type enchantments are out there, maybe we get a lower cost one, but because the game's RNG can make it where you go along hundreds of scenes or offers without having the chance to buy one of those. If you see it, go ahead and take it regardless of price, and it'll be worth it to have and overpay for a while until you have a new opportunity to maybe get it on a discount. And then you just hope that whatever the high price trader is either buys paper, or if you do ever bring them up a level, will buy or will offer a new trade or something that's valuable further on down in its levels. So it's worth it. We'll definitely jump on the ones we're going to use repeatedly, no matter the price. And I hope that with full loads of produce for trade, we'll be well stocked to do that. So when we get back over there, we're going to hope that we have 2 adult, and they may not have done any, they're probably unloaded chunks, so they haven't done a thing while we've been gone, but we'll watch for those 2 unemployed youthful villagers to grow up. Then we'll get them moved over and set up with lecterns, and through whatever night opportunity we have to wait for them, we'll work on getting our next available librarian room set up, so that we're always staying a little bit ahead and ready for more, because now we want to be able to roll through them and try to lock in trades kind of quickly, if at all possible. Just wondering, do I want to just run as soon as my pockets are full and go to the cave and then come back and repeat until I've harvested everything? I think maybe this time around I do. One thing that I do want to do, though, is, and this may be a mistake, I don't remember how many that gives. Just one? Okay. Well, hopefully this harvesting will make us hungry enough to want to eat that. Just another food item that, as we get more focused on trading out all this produce, it's good to have eaten the one that you need to. Then you don't have to think about it anymore. And some good old borscht is always welcome. So we'll pick up these carrots that we couldn't as we go back down here this time. I'm just gonna come back down here, get these that were a couple rows over right now. I think that should probably do it. All this running should at some point make me hungry enough to slurp down my borscht. And dang it. Then we will run over and set these up for our farmers. Alright, we are pretty well maxed out. If we get back over to our boat, we can make this trip at night. And the worst thing that happens out of that is a trident-wielding drowned joins us on our boat ride, and maybe we get yank a trident out of his fingers as we go. I just so happy to have gotten the looting. That's a great one to have early, where we gambled and took the sharpness. That really paid off well, and the being able to get the melons going here tomorrow will be extra nice for our emerald production. And not to mention bees. I think the bee mechanic is great. That everything is going to start helping itself here now. We'll be able to venture out. I know we had one nice bee nest over by Donkey Town. We had a couple more, I think, on the way through the woods and in some of our exploration on this side of the sea or ocean. So we're not doing too badly. I never did get hungry enough to need some of these things, and I guess this is our next logical. Now, I'm not going to be able to pick any of this up, but I expect it won't despawn. We've got a full night, so it may, but we probably got enough wiggle room, and if we feel we're getting pinched or really don't want to risk losing some of this kind of stuff, we'll just go put some carrots or something away and switch out. But mainly just, you know, at this point, doing the clearing of stone to maximize the nighttime and get ready. This is the only, when you hear that lava there bubbling, that's where you want to go kind of slow. Not only is it bad for the wooden framing of our villager little rooms here, but it isn't real good for the villagers themselves either, and it wouldn't be real good for the golem. You know, none of that works out good in the end. So we'll do our best to avoid dumping some from the ceiling on. I don't know which direction it's most likely to come from, but it's all right. So let's switch over into our build mode. We want that, and we want that. Now, instead of dogs barking, we have cats meowing. Everywhere you go, it's something. Yeah, what do you think, bud? Come on, a little bit. Back up just a little bit. I forgot to bring iron for you. I'm sorry, dude. We'll get some. We're making lots of runs, so no problem. Bunch of iron to make you feel better. Yeah, and again, this is this is just kind of a payoff. We get to kind of have a chill evening while they sleep. Nothing's gonna come and get us. We're gated in through the water. We wanted to leave that open, but I think we'll go ahead and start our familiar pattern here of the raised roof with the lantern. And did I have the lantern? I don't know what I did with those. I must have put them in the chest over there, I guess. Oh, cleared out lanterns. Man, I wish I'd get hungry. Then I could eat the stupid beet soup. Let's do that. Alright. And I don't have any gates either. So much to do. So there's that. Now we want to gut this floor. Again, from this point, we're just going to fill these guys in with librarians too. So We'll keep pushing back, but now they get the same styling. I thought yeah, I didn't know that was quite as extensive as it was. That's a little interesting. Alright, we definitely want to work back here first. Get some air. And this goes a long way. I'm just keeping an eye on my bubbles, making sure I don't get too far back and stuck, and we don't have to do everything down here. We just have to do enough to fill our floor. That. Now it'll get more difficult. That's when drowning can happen. So yeah, we're not gonna push out in that direction. Why is a golem under there? Is that one of your buddies? Did he spawn underwater? That's hilarious. All right. Enough nonsense. So the cool news is, we can access that from outside, it looked like. So we can go underwater and come back here underneath and, make scary ghost noises to scare our villagers and just generally prank them without them understanding why. And these guys, had they not been asleep, might have caught on and known what we were up to, but the rest of them, not so much. Anyway, that's all dealt with. We may, obviously, it looked like it may be wrapped around. I filled it up as far as I was kind of comfortable going. But if we do run into more challenges in the future, we'll just deal with them as they come up. So that's good. I think let's go ahead and do this side. And then we'll get the gates and call those ready. Here. So boom, boom, boom. Some torches. One up here. Nope, that isn't what we can do. Now before we fill that in, let's go here. Try to do this sort of wisely. I don't know what that noise is. You guys hearing that noise? Kind of like a thumping. It's gone now. Yeah, I'm just hearing things. Alright, we got a lot to do over on that side, but let's get the gates so we don't forget them. Wow, we used up a lot of that stone. Good for us. Hopefully daylight will be coming. Oh, I forgot to get so obsessed about the top stuff. So here, boom, 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 boom. No, just put those in the place of the torches. Just put those in the place of the torches. Boom. Boom, boom. Alright, we're going to leave the wood floors, we're going to leave the stone dividers, and... Excuse me. Come in there? Yeah, you can. Be careful of the water, though. You don't want to fall in. Alright, that was silly. We totally didn't need to break those, but... Oops. Okay, now here... ceiling. Oh. Daytime. I already see hearts flying. You guys are. It's a great day to be alive. Be alive and be a villager. How I could still need so many torches on so many random sides of that. Right. Now we have. So we have 6 more spaces ready to go. Let's get those lanterns while I'm still thinking about it. I think I brought them. Nope, I didn't bring them over. Okay. Alright, we're not in too much trouble yet. Let's put all those away. See if we can trade with the guys that do it. Look at that. Still got a sail. You are fantastic. All you melon guys, just wait, buddies. We got good stuff coming for you. So that was kind of cool. I didn't really want to get into too much of the trading stuff yet, but if we can, we want to do the pumpkins and get them timer, on a timer to reset again, because those we're gonna be long on for a while. I'm gonna take those back. Let's turn the stone while we're thinking about it. Store away this cobble. Leave that here instead of carrying it. Leave these new emeralds here instead of carrying them. I guess leave those 2 as well. Might as well merge these 2 now. Just thinking along the way here as we go. The important thing we should have learned is let's not leave. Alright, I guess I was due some more rain. That's fair. Let's not leave really important stuff in the villager outpost these days. If we can't, we can deal with some rain. We can deal with some boat rides and some extra trips if we need them. But we're doing all right, I think. Boop, 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 boop. Now we're going to drop the junk. We're going to grab before we forget, or have a chance to forget, the lanterns. And the extra leather. We're going to get rid of this stuff that we don't need. I guess we just didn't see any andesite. That's kind of weird. Still would like to get hungry. I guess we took down 2 steaks when we were harvesting the last time, so that left us a bit full. It's a lot more than I would tend to eat in a single setting for sure. Okay, here it is. Glory Silk Touch Axe. The efficiency isn't. You notice the difference between the 4 and the 5. With 5, because I'm used to doing that, as recently as I've harvested any melons, you can pretty much just move steadily. Here you can see we can push in little gaps, but eventually we get stuck and miss one. So that's the difference. Getting that last level of efficiency will make these just cruise by. And for now, I'm going to keep this just for the melons. We'll switch back to iron for the pumpkins. Once we have the mending, we'll just use the axe for both. Silk Touch doesn't hurt the pumpkin harvesting at all, and when you have efficiency 5 on it, it's going to be quicker. The pumpkins are going to seem painfully slow now by comparison, but it's worth the wear until we know mending is there and we don't have to worry about losing it. And knowing that may take a long time to show up. Fingers crossed the next librarian we have, we get some mending and boom, we're already in business. But planning for the worst, we won't just wastefully use it. So we're coming to the end of this episode. I don't want to get these too long, and the first one of today's session was longer than I'd hoped. Just as we were getting going, so I think we're gonna maybe get one or the other of the potatoes or wheat. We'll see how much of our inventory is filled up. As you can see, a few of the melons have already popped back up, and that's great. They're going to be the ones that we really want to see filling, you know, and we'll kind of gauge our readiness to go back and harvest based on our pumpkins and our melons now. So, doing well. We've got a lot of inventory space, and let's, just on the balance, I think we'll probably need closer to a full inventory for the potatoes. So, let's take what we can of these, and we'll get the wheat done, and at most we're going to have 4 stacks of actual wheat, and we'll leave the seeds, so that should work out well for one more return trip, and we'll call it good from there. Maybe wrap this one up with our villagers once we get back over to the cave, and then I mean luxurious weatherproof accommodations for trading villagers. Caves occur naturally, and we carve that out by hand. Artisanal. It's a thing of beauty, and they love it. They told me. I'm just shocked that we're... Go figure, you know. Alright, I'm going to tote around this stupid bowl of beet soup, which, by the way, I love beets. You know, beets get a bad rap. People are like, oh man, beets. I don't know why. Even, you know, maybe it's the sugariness of them, but just the, you know, I guess they're pickled, you know, bright red beets that you find at in a jar at the store, you know, in a salad bar or something like that. Yeah, that's good eating to me. I'm a fan. But I'll tell you what, this beet soup may be enough to put me off of them by having to carry it around and not being able to eat it. Anyway, let's drop off all these seeds. Keep the last ones to fill in here. And it should, you know, close enough to keep us fully stocked to allow another trip back over. Oh, the other thing we wanted to grab, I almost forgot, and hopefully we'll have one extra seed spot here. I think easily we will. We want to bring over some iron for our golem buddy. Fix him up. That's the least we could do. I mean, he's looking out for our guys, offering security services. It's while it's probably in his job description, I haven't reviewed the terms of his hiring, but I certainly appreciate it, and will gladly fix him. Look at that. We would have missed that individual melon, and it would have been a shame. It was part of our first melon crop. And this is, you know, this is what I like, and why I will soon, not only because they're kind of cool and fun to work with and play around with, and you can do some neat things with, or I have kind of a design I like to do and kind of make it over the top in terms of natural but useful application of bees. We want to get them going because they will, like bone meal or things like that. They will definitely help speed up our production. They'll help fertilize, pollinate our fields, I guess would be the real turn. So what do we say? We needed iron as well. Anything else here that particularly missing? I think since these are our only spruce, let's take them too. Look at that, we're almost into night. In case we run low on gates, and you know, finding those extra ones definitely took that pressure off. But since we don't have spruce logs, it's rather than having to go out and forest right at the moment, which I think, you know, add that to the list of things that we want to do soon. But it also is going to kind of keep us from the things that are getting more potential here. You know, we want to spend some time with our villager friends here, and hopefully get some of those other enchantments now that we're starting there. And we want to get underground. We want more diamonds. More diamonds. Greed. We want those kind of things because we will want to get silk touch diamond pickaxes, even if we don't have... Oh, does that feel better? Yeah, I thought so. All right, that's enough. You look good. Looking mighty fine. And I'm kind of glad I didn't release this yet. We'll see. You know, down the road we may, but as we get more villagers, they're going to pop more golems. And, you know, frankly, I don't want to see anything in front of him, but if they put more of them underwater, that's okay by me. All right, we're hungry again. Good. Boom. Beet soup done. Here, have a bowl. So check that one off the list. Now, let's drop all these. And remember that we just said we were going to wrap up this episode. So let's throw down a bed. Let's get a bed and then throw it down. We've only got a couple more of those, so we'll have to do sheep again, too. Always something. Okay. Bed. We're going to sleep. Well, let's do it here. As always, thank you guys so much for hanging out and sharing this Minecraft world with me. I hope you're enjoying it. As always, your comments are encouraged. Give a like if you've enjoyed it. I certainly would appreciate that feedback as well, and we'll help spread the word to others out there in YouTube land that this is a world that's kind of taken off. I think we're moving out of that and every time I name one of these episodes, I kind of go, yeah, maybe I didn't need 2 zeros preceding the world number, but after that first episode, I figured it would be safe. Episodes, that's optimistic, right? You'd like to be up into the hundreds of episodes before you lose a world, but yeah, risking the hundreds of worlds, I would hope that we'd be a little more long-lasting in some of them, and maybe this one's got the magic touch. So we'll see. You know, we're not safe yet. We never will be, but we're getting there. Having some enchantments is great. So again, appreciate your time. Thanks for jumping in here with me, and we'll get back at it here. Maybe in my world a few hours from now. I'm having a blast, so we'll come back, watch for new videos to pop soon. Bye now.